Hi, I've been away from the channel for a couple of weeks because I haven't been very well, unfortunately, but I'm feeling a lot better now. And I'm back again this week, and this week's video that I'm doing here is all about Mother's Day and how we can cope when we don't have a mum in our life. And Sunday here is Mother's Day in the UK. And I wanted to share some of my personal experiences of how I've managed to navigate this special day without my own mother to celebrate it with. So I'm going to share a bit of that with you now. And 12 years ago, my mum got very sick with a treatable but unfortunately really aggressive form of cancer. And that ultimately claimed her life 9 months after she was diagnosed, and she was only 55. She was quite a young woman. But of course, losing my mum this way, it was absolutely devastating. So heartbreaking for me because she was absolutely my best friend. So it could be the same for you. That every year on Mother's Day you have this difficult situation of not having your mum in your life anymore. Or it could be that your mother hasn't passed away, but that maybe you have limited or no contact with her. And that can be every bit as painful. The feelings of longing for that mother relationship or that relationship being missing from your life are still there. And all of that can leave us with an aching heart and some really quite difficult emotions. So for those of us in this situation, we're carrying the wounds of grief or the scars of this interrupted mother bond. And we've talked a bit about that on the channel, haven't we? The way the developmental psychologist, my colleagues in developmental psychology, will tell you all about attachment and how as little babies we're kind of hardwired to attach to that primary caregiver who was more often than not our mother. So at this time, Mother's Day can be a wonderful holiday for those of us who have those wounds and that loss. It can just be surrounded in a minefield of reminders of our loss or our separation, all around us in our environment, in the media, in the shops, the TV, on the internet. And as well socially, it might be really painful for us to hear our colleagues or even our friends talking about how they're going to celebrate Mother's Day. And that can be really hard for us because we might feel that we can't express our difficult and our painful feelings, our feelings of grief, when others around us are enjoying a happy holiday with all their loved ones. So how can we cope with this day? It can bring up so much sorrow and distress for those of us who are not lucky enough to have a mother in our lives. So I want to share with you a few ways that I do that as a psychologist, but also as a mother and as a daughter as well. And I hope that sharing my experience will kind of resonate with you and help you to feel a little bit stronger, a little bit less alone. So the first thing that I want to say to you, if you're going through this experience, is that it is perfectly okay to have those difficult feelings. It's all right to feel sad, and around this time it's perfectly natural for that to be the case. And because this is all around you, this stuff is all around you at this time. So when those reminders are there, yes, it might very well naturally trigger off all those difficult feelings for you. Because this is not like Mum's birthday, is it, where you have that kind of private sense of grief. This is a universal holiday. It's all around us. And that can be really hard. So the difficult feelings like the sadness that you might have for not having that mum figure in your life, they are normal. And another thing that you want to remember about that is that you need to be kind to yourself when those difficult feelings do come up. And when you experience them at the time, notice that those are difficult for you. And yeah, there is no shame in that. So being able to say, yes, I'm feeling this, setting aside that more punishing talk that you might have around that. So another thing that helps me to cope with this day is to find a way to honour my mum. And I use this as an opportunity to remember my mum and as well my grandma, and light candles for them, and those burn for the whole day. And coming up to Mother's Day, I often go and I use it as an opportunity to choose a beautiful candle instead of buying a Mother's Day gift, that I can use my little ritual of remembrance for my mum, my grandma. So that is something that I do. And while I'm doing that, I also try and remember the wonderful times I had with them. And as well, have a glass of wine. Do something that my mum would have really approved of, and it's something that she enjoyed doing with me. So having that little ritual that connects me to my happy memories with my mum, and the laughter and the lovely warm times really helps me to actually cope on the day. Yeah, so remembering all those things that were wonderful and unique about my mum. So that helps me to as well find a focus, to have something to focus on that day. So another thing that is really going to help you in relation to just being able to cope a little better with all the difficult feelings at this time is to really concentrate on your self-care as ever. Maybe kick it up a notch and really make sure that you're getting enough sleep and eating the right things, and maybe getting out and having a little walk, making sure that you get outside. So all of those things, making sure that you kind of filling up your own battery, so that you're able to have all the resources for your body and your mind to help you when things are a little more difficult with those emotions that you're having. So practicing good self-care is really going to help you. Another thing that really helps me during this time is to be around people who genuinely care about me and who I genuinely trust. And that can be, yes, my own children, because I'm a mother. I have 2 grown-up children, both in their 20s. So spending time with my son and daughter and being around them on Mother's Day is obviously really important, and it can really help. But also other people, the other people in your life, the mothers who are around you that you admire. It might be a colleague or a friend. Maybe you could use Mother's Day as a way to remind them of what a great job they're doing and how loved they are. For me, that's something that I like to do as well. Take a look around me at the amazing women that I do know, and making sure that they feel valued. So yeah, expressing your gratitude, expressing your love and your admiration for those mothers around you, or those that you view in that mother way, in that mother role. So yeah, that can really help you as well. So if you are a mother yourself like me, and this is something that you are going through, it can be really tempting to kind of compartmentalize all these difficult feelings that you've got and push all of your attention onto your children. And it is really, really good to engage with your children and to enjoy Mother's Day with them. But it's also good to make time to process any difficult feelings that you're having about the loss of your own parent, of your own mother. And something that I like to do is to share my memories of my mum with my children, and we'll all talk about grandma and what a wonderful time we had with her, and tell funny stories and remember her in that unique way. So rather than compartmentalizing everything off, it's really good to share your experiences with those around you. And finally, the one thing that I want to say to you that is really, really important here is that if your grief and if your difficult emotions are overwhelming you, and this is kind of going beyond that week of Mother's Day, or it's kind of encroaching on your life, it's affecting your day-to-day living, it is so important that you reach out for help if you are struggling in that way with that difficulty, the grief, because the help is out there for you, and you are certainly not alone. Because grief is one of the most difficult life experiences that we can go through as human beings. So make sure that if that is the case for you, that you are reaching out, and I'd really encourage you to do that. I'm going to put some links in the description for you for different places that you can get help. So finally, I want to wrap everything up by just talking a little bit how the experience of losing my mum has really shaped things for me. And although this was an absolutely devastating experience for me, losing my own mum, I have to also say that it was a life-changing one, and it kind of inspired me to go back into education. I got myself a degree, started at the age of 36, and I kept going. And now, of course, I'm just doing my bit of research here so I can get my doctorate. So I've gone all that way. Kind of inspired by my own mum. And yeah, so that was a kind of turning point in my own life. So what I'm trying to get at here is that from my own experience, grief has been a kind of transformative experience for me, and from that I've gained personal growth, and I would say a lot of insight and wisdom. And it's kind of that something has come from that really difficult experience for me. I have become a different person through that. And and I think my mum would have been very proud of my progress. So just sharing a little bit of my personal things with you all. So whatever your experience is of Mother's Day, if you find it difficult, hopefully the videos helped you to give you some ideas of how you might be able to cope with it a little better. And if you've got any comments, please share your experiences with us if that's something that you feel comfortable doing. Like and share, and don't forget to subscribe as well if you're interested in all things psychological well-being and health. You definitely came to the right place if that's what you're looking for, more of that sort of content. So whatever you're doing on Mother's Day, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me. I will be back next week.